Hi, Index for the Next World community. It is Rachel here, as promised, to share with you a little bit about how to use a design thinking process to support creating a morning routine for yourself. And I'm sharing this because design thinking for change is one of the learning threads that we teach and model here at Index for the Next World. And also because in this moment of global pandemic, that is impacting people's schedules and daily lives in a vast variety of ways, it can be really helpful and supportive to have a little bit of outside support or container or process to adapt your day. And a lot of people have said something they're really challenged by is their morning routine now, whether it's because where they're going has changed or because they're having to not go somewhere where they would usually go somewhere or vice versa, whether their location has changed, their health, all sorts of things. So I just want to give a little introduction to the very, very basic design process as I like to teach it. And design is at its heart a way to solve a problem, yes, but that language is a little bit different than the vibe we're going for. It's more like how to answer a how-to question. Like, how do I have a morning routine that gets me into my day in a good way? Or how do I figure out what am I supposed to be doing with my time right now? Or, you know, sometimes it shows up as an I'll never, like, oh, I'll never have my own business. Those are often design questions. And so we're not talking about graphic design or architectural design. We're just talking about design thinking as a process that shows up in many types of design. So the first step is to observe and notice. And what you're going to observe and notice, you've probably already been doing it, is what's going on in your mornings. Are you finding yourself waking up at the same time every day or at different times? Are you waking up because of your body or someone else's body and perhaps the sounds that they're making or their need for your attention? Are you spending more time or less time feeding your body? Are you on your phone right away? Are you not? And this is a true noticing practice. No judgment. We're not even really engaging with desires. Just what do you notice? What is the current environment of your morning routine? And if you do have emotions come up or desires, noticing those too, like, oh, I hate this, or oh my gosh, I love how luxurious this is, but it's not working with my schedule. Whatever those noticings are in your body and your emotions and your thoughts, they are part of observe and notice too. You might want to draw a little bit or journal a little bit about what you notice over a few days or what you've been noticing. And from that journaling or that sitting with yourself or that noticing over some time, you're then going to move on to step 2. And that is to assess needs and values. So we start with observation. Now we dig into what are my needs and values. So what you noticed and observed, both what you were experiencing and how you were feeling about it, will start to lead you to what are you really needing? Like, I need to get up way earlier, but I hate getting up early. So I'm needing more time, but also more pleasure so that I can meet this other need of getting up early. Those kinds of things. And so start to map out what do you need your morning routine to do for you? Because it turns out, spoiler alert, it's very different for everybody. So for example, I have both a value and a need around not being on my phone until after I have finished my morning routine. I do not use it as an alarm clock unless it is in airplane mode. I do not text or Instagram or anything from my phone. And that doesn't mean I'm not on the screen. I can watch television on my computer. I can read articles, whatever, although I don't watch the news before breakfast. I have a need for no business before breakfast. I cannot think analytically before breakfast, right? I need to not be making decisions or doing scheduling or emailing before I have eaten breakfast. And that's not a need for everybody. Some people find that is the most active part of their day and they'd love to get that stuff done and then have breakfast as a reward. I get very anxious if I get on my phone before I finish my morning routine. There was a time in my life when I needed my morning routine to literally bribe me into getting out of bed. I was working a job that was so unbearable for me that I just didn't physically know how to get myself up for it. And so I had to get up for something else. And so I bribed myself that if I got up a little bit earlier, I could get up for something that I did love or I did want to get up for. And those things were writing poetry and singing one song while playing my banjo. And that eventually morphed into the musical part of my morning routine. And that at the core of that need was I need pleasure in my morning routine because I need to get out of bed. And I want to be getting out of bed consistently. And I want to be getting out of bed with a sense of my own center and my own priorities. So I need pleasure from my morning routine. I need structure around the phone. I need a full routine before business. I need food. I also need a cup of tea. I need ritual is part of what I really need at the heart of a cup of tea. And I need to do some things to support certain parts of my body immediately upon waking. So those are needs that I have in the morning. I also, I need at some point in my day to do my chores. And I find that I'm much more likely to do them in the morning when I have run out of neither willpower nor energy than in the evening when a lot of us do our chores. So that's a need that I have that actually connects to a morning routine. So just brainstorm, map out some needs and values. And it's okay if you have a ton and it's okay if you have a few. And then put them in priority order or into groups. Notice themes and pick like 3 to 5 that you're really going to focus on. And they might have other needs that are connected to them, but really hone down 3 to 5 needs that you're going to prioritize in this quick and dirty design of your morning routine. And that might, take some time, pause the video. You could take a few days to do that, however you want to do it. So now that we have observed what's arising when we're rising, and we've mapped out some needs and some values, like I value my solitude and quiet in the morning away from my phone or, loud conversation. When we've mapped that out, then we move on to brainstorm and hone. And what we're brainstorming and honing is our design, our plan. So first, we're just going to brainstorm lots of different components that could be part of a fun morning routine. And in the brainstorming phase, the pre-negotiated consent is once I enter brainstorming, I don't get to say no until after I'm done brainstorming. So just write it down and move on to the next one. So a great way to do this is with sticky notes. Just write one, move it, write one, move it, like peel them off, stick them on a wall, stick them on a table. And it could be like, I play the French horn really loudly. You're probably going to have to nix that later because you have neighbors. They're sheltering in place maybe. But go ahead and get it on the board. So some things that I brainstormed when I was designing my morning routine were the music, doing exercise before breakfast, doing exercise after breakfast. I brainstormed maybe having a dance practice in the morning, a meditation practice in the morning. I brainstormed different ways to wake myself up, which kinds of alarms to use. I brainstormed, what I was going to have on hand for breakfast, just whatever comes to mind that could be a component. You don't have to, each item doesn't need to be a full morning routine, just a component of a morning routine. And then you're going to hone. And this is where you want to look back at those 3 to 5 core values or needs that you're really choosing to focus on in this first iteration. Remember that you can always redesign. The design cycle is ongoing. But in this first iteration, you've got 3 to 5, and you're going to then look through the ideas, the components that you've brainstormed, and pick 3 to 5 of those that you really like and that connect to one or more of those core needs and values that you've chosen. So you can sort your brainstormed list first by like, oh, that's just a clear no. You can do the yes, no, maybe. You can do the does it bring me joy? If you want to do a little decluttering kind of ethic from Marie Kondo. But at the heart of it, you're honing, you're going through your ideated brainstorm list and you're finding which ones connect to those root needs and values. And you're going to pick 3 to 5. And then you're going to put them into an order for your morning. And look at your list of 3 to 5 components of a morning routine and notice if there's anything essential missing, like eating is essential for a lot of us. And just slide that on in there. Remember that it's really hard to implement multiple new habits at the same time. So the shorter your first iteration of the morning routine is, the easier it's going to be to bring it on board and see how you like it and then add things to it. So if you start with 5 or more components, pick the first 3 that you're going to implement for this last step. And this last step is implement and iterate, right? So it takes about 2 weeks to implement a new habit. With a morning routine, if it has 3 steps, you're actually implementing 3 new habits unless you are already doing one of them. So you want to go really gently. You could roll them out one at a time, but don't try more than 3 at once if you can. And then as you go, remember that you're going to get to iterate. So we like to do something we call prototyping. So you might try your 3 components for 3 days and realize one of them doesn't fit and you want to swap it out. That's fine, right? That's prototyping. You tried a thing, it was like a loose version of the final thing, and then you changed it a little bit, you tweaked it. But give yourself 1 to 2 weeks to try out your morning routine, and then go back during that time to the process of observing. So you're just observing as you implement, right? So you're implementing, you've moved back to that first step of observe. And at the end of whatever time you've set for yourself, 1 or 2 weeks, then reassess. Are you meeting your needs with your morning routine? Are there a couple of core needs or values that are still unmet? Go back to your list of ideas, of components, or brainstorm a few more, and consider adding in 1 or 2 or changing out 1 or 2. And this is also a good time to build your morning routine a little bit longer if you want to take components from your first plan, your first design, that you didn't add in yet because it was too many routines to start at once. It was too many new habits to start at once. And you can keep going through that cycle, several times. Morning routines evolve like any design, but coming up with a core that you don't have to make micro decisions about every day can be really supportive, that it eventually becomes habitual. It has a flow to it. It has an order to it. Doing things in the same order, it's not just about the same components, trains your brain and body so that you don't have to use your decision-making energy, which might be a little bit taxed right now in general, in this hypervigilant time that we find ourselves in. And you can really let the morning routine move you rather than you having to wrench on your morning to make it move. So I hope this has been supportive in some small way. Let us know what else you'd like to hear from us about design thinking or permaculture or imagination as a radical muscle as support in these times. We'll continue to chat about gardening on here as well as our upcoming launch. Would love to hear in the comments, what's in your morning routine? What have you noticed? What needs have popped up that you didn't know before? What do you value in your morning routine? What are some ideas you have for your morning routine? And then what have you honed to, right? Because we can get really, really excited about all the ideas, overcommit, and then the whole thing crashes. So what have you honed to? And how did it go? Trying it out. What did you notice? Let us know and stay in touch. Lots of love to everyone out there. Please take care and stay safe as you can. Bye-bye.